The first time I met Adrian Wolf, he didn't look like the kind of man people whispered about in hallways. He looked calm, polished, quiet. The kind of billionaire who wore simple suits instead of flashy ones, who spoke softly instead of loudly, and who never smiled unless he meant it. But behind his back, people called him a psycho. I heard it on my very first day working at Wolf Industries. "Don't make mistakes," one coworker warned me in the elevator. "Why?" I asked. "He fired a manager for bringing the wrong brand of water." Another added quietly, "Last year an executive cried in the parking lot after one meeting with him." They laughed nervously. I didn't. Because I needed this job more than anything. My name is Daniel Carter. I was 26, buried in student debt, and supporting my mother who had recently gotten sick. When Wolf Industries offered me a position as a junior financial assistant, I took it without asking questions. Even if the boss was supposedly a monster. My first week, I didn't see him at all. Adrian Wolf worked on the top floor of the glass tower in the center of the city. Only executives were usually allowed up there. But on Friday afternoon, everything changed. My manager rushed into our office looking pale. "Daniel, Mr. Wolf asked for you." The room went silent. "You mean, the CEO?" I asked. "Yes." "Why me?" "I don't know," she whispered. "But don't keep him waiting." The elevator ride to the top floor felt like traveling toward a courtroom verdict. When the doors opened, everything looked different. The floor was quiet, elegant, almost empty. A single assistant pointed toward a massive office. "Mr. Wolf is expecting you." My heart hammered as I knocked. "Come in," a calm voice said. The office was huge, with windows stretching from floor to ceiling, showing the entire skyline. And sitting behind a large desk was Adrian Wolf. He looked younger than I expected. Maybe late 30s. Dark hair. Sharp eyes that felt like they could read every thought in your head. He studied me for a moment. "Daniel Carter." "Yes, sir." "You corrected a financial report yesterday." My stomach dropped. "I'm sorry if that was." "You saved the company $2 million. I blinked. "What?" He turned his monitor toward me. "You noticed a supplier contract error no one else saw. That mistake would have cost us significantly." I swallowed. I was just doing my job. He watched me silently. Most people would smile. Adrian Wolf didn't. "Sit," he said. I sat carefully across from him. For a moment he said nothing. Then he asked a strange question. "Why do you work so hard?" I hesitated. People usually gave safe answers to billionaires. But something about his quiet stare made lying feel pointless. "My mom's sick," I said. "Medical bills." He nodded once. "That explains it." Then he stood up and walked to the window. "You know what people say about me." It wasn't a question. "Yes, sir." "That I'm a psycho." I froze. He said it so casually it almost sounded like he was discussing the weather. "They're exaggerating," I said carefully. "Are they?" He turned back to face me. His expression was unreadable. "Most people only see power," he said. "They don't understand the cost of building it." I didn't know how to respond. So I stayed quiet. Finally he walked back to the desk and handed me a folder. "New assignment," he said. "You'll work directly with my office." My jaw nearly dropped. "Sir." "I'm just a junior assistant." "Not anymore." And just like that, my life changed. Over the next few months, I worked closer to Adrian Wolf than almost anyone in the company, and I quickly learned why people feared him. He was brutally direct. He fired incompetent executives without hesitation. He rejected billion-dollar deals if something felt wrong. He expected perfection and didn't tolerate excuses. Once, during a meeting, he stared at a senior manager and said calmly, "You're lying." The man turned red. Adrian slid a report across the table. Page 14. Numbers don't match your statement. The room went silent. The manager was fired the same day. Moments like that spread through the company like wildfire. The legend of the psycho billionaire kept growing. But working beside him every day, I started seeing something no one else noticed. He wasn't cruel. He was precise. And sometimes, unexpectedly kind. One evening I stayed late finishing a report. Around 9 p.m. the office was nearly empty. Adrian walked past my desk and stopped. "You're still here." I needed to finish this projection. He looked at the screen briefly. "You're hungry." I laughed awkwardly. "I'm okay." He disappeared into his office. 5 minutes later he returned and placed a bag on my desk. "Dinner." "Eat," he said simply. That was it. No speech. No acknowledgement. Just food. Another time he noticed me checking my phone during work. "Problem?" he asked. "My mom's appointment results," I admitted. He studied me for a moment. Then he said something that shocked me. "Go home." "But the report." "Family first." The next day HR informed me the company had upgraded my health insurance plan. The premium was unbelievably good. I never asked how. But I had a feeling. The biggest moment happened 6 months after I started. My mother's condition suddenly worsened. She needed an expensive surgery immediately. Even with insurance, I didn't have the money. I tried to stay focused at work, but Adrian noticed immediately. "You're distracted," he said during a meeting. "I'm fine." "You're lying." After the meeting, he called me into his office. "What's wrong?" I hesitated. Then everything spilled out. The hospital. The surgery. The cost that he listened quietly the entire time. When I finished, he simply nodded. "Understood." That was it. No promise. No reaction. The next morning, I received a call from the hospital. "Your mother's surgery has been fully funded," the receptionist said. I nearly dropped the phone. "By who?" There was a pause. "It was arranged through the Wolf Foundation." My chest tightened. I ran upstairs to Adrian's office. "You paid for my mom's surgery." He didn't look up from his laptop. "No. But the Wolf Foundation. It supports medical cases." "Sir, thank you." Finally he looked at me. His eyes were calm, almost distant. "Don't thank me." "Why not?" "Because kindness isn't charity," he said. "It's responsibility." I stood there speechless. Then he added quietly. "And you earned it." Months later, I overheard 2 executives whispering near the elevator. "That guy is insane," one said. "Total psycho." I looked toward the top floor. And for the first time, I smiled. Because they were wrong. Adrian Wolf wasn't a psycho. He was just a man who had seen the worst parts of the world. And decided that weakness, lies, and selfishness had no place in the future he was building. But underneath all that steel and silence was something people rarely noticed. A strange, quiet kind of kindness. The kind that doesn't need applause. The kind that saves lives when no one is looking. And sometimes I still think about the moment he told me why people misunderstood him. It was late one night when the office was empty. I asked him directly. "Why do you think everyone believes you're a monster?" He stared out the window for a long time before answering. Then he said something I'll never forget. Because, Adrian Wolf said softly. People are uncomfortable with kindness that comes without emotion. And then he returned to work like the conversation had never happened. But I understood. The world thought I worked for a psycho-billionaire. The truth was far more complicated. I worked for the kindest man no one believed in.